Alright, welcome you guys to another special saxophone technique episode of Project Sax. Now, last episode in this series, I taught you guys how to circular breathe. There's, I guess, one part, and there's a couple of other tidbits of information that I gave and maybe another part. So, I led to this episode when I was talking to you in the last episode of circular breathing techniques. So I led you guys to this episode, and this episode is circular breathing with a balloon. Now the way a balloon it's going to teach you how to circular breathe. The way it's going to teach you how to circular breathe is, first, okay, when you're blowing a balloon, you blow the balloon like such. Right? Okay, so you blow the balloon and you have air already in it. So when you have air already in the balloon, that keeps you from having to blow a certain amount. The resistance, because the resistance that the air balloon gives you, or the air in the balloon gives you, tells you how much more you need to blow into it until it reaches its maximum capacity. Now, when you're blowing the balloon, watch me as I blow it, you'll see air start to circulate back into my cheeks. That air that circulates back into my cheeks can be utilized at another time when blowing the balloon. Now, you don't think about this, but this is exactly what circular breathing is. It's the storing of air to use it at the right time. Now, this is much like the saxophone. The balloon serves as the saxophone. You don't need all the air that you blow into the saxophone necessarily to make the saxophone make a decent sound. The pitch of the saxophone is needed for a certain amount of air for each note. So depending on what note you're playing, it's going to dictate how your circular breathing is, whether it's hard or easy. Say if you're playing a low note like a low B flat, it's really hard to circular breathe a low B flat because it needs a lot more air support. But in the higher ranges, it's a lot easier to circular breathe those notes, because circular breathing higher notes, because you don't need as much air, you just need faster air. And the thing about it is, even though it's easier to circular breathe it, it's harder to keep it in tune that much more because it's the higher register. It's just like you're trying to pitch a high note and you don't hit it and you fall off. It's just like that on the saxophone, except with an embouchure and not just your vocal cords and your diaphragm. So when you're blowing into the balloon, when you are blowing in, you have the air retained and the air you're blowing in. So watch carefully. Okay. So basically that's it. When you're blowing into the balloon, you're retaining air and you're also putting in air. Now when you're playing the saxophone, you do need a lot of air when you're starting out, but once you get the hang of it and once you warm up your reed and warm up your sound, you can really do some good circular breathing. Circular breathing is really not a hard concept to master, or at least come close to doing it correctly. What you're probably going to have to realize when running into circular breathing as an issue is when you are circular breathing, you're going to see the issue of consistent notes, and it's going to be hard for you to keep your note consistent. So unlike the balloon doesn't help you gauge whether your note is consistent or not. The balloon is just really a prop that I'm using to, you know, demonstrate circular breathing in layman's terms. You know, something that everybody can do, like blow up a balloon, and taking the actual applications of blowing a balloon and applying it to circular breathing on the saxophone. So let me demonstrate this again. So basically, again, all I'm doing is breathing into my nose and blowing whatever air needed to be in the balloon into balloon, and I'm storing whatever air I don't need into my cheeks, and that's just, you know, implied. When you're blowing a balloon, you don't necessarily blow everything you have into the balloon. You're gonna automatically start to engorge your cheeks because the balloon can't take that much air, so it'll naturally just give back some air because of the resistance of the balloon. And saxophones, they kind of have resistances, but all of your air can go out of that horn. What you use to help you gauge your resistance is your tongue and your mouth. It's really not that hard. I might be talking a little complicated, but basically, you're gonna have to control your air output and input. That's all you're basically doing, and you're making this part of your mouth like this balloon. So let's go. Let's try it one more time and just pay attention. I'm going to be breathing into my nose while I'm blowing into the actual balloon. So here we go. One thing you probably want to look out for is to not thrust so much of your air out at once. It's like when you're swimming, you want to breathe in and breathe out depending on the situation. So say if you're maybe you're decrescendoing or decrescendoing, and you are trying to still circular breathe, what you're going to have to end up doing is you're going to have to slowly breathe, circular breathe in a way. So you basically contracting and contracting that diaphragm in a way that's going to make your note as soft and your circular breathing as soft as you're playing. And since the decrescendo and the crescendo is a gradual thing, you're going to have to work that gradualness into your circular breathing. All of this stuff can be applied, especially when you're doing vibrato. Vibrato is a little bit different. When you're circular breathing, it's pretty much an independent technique. When you're circular breathing, you don't really have to really worry about vibrato. I mean, it's really separate. But all these techniques that I've shown can pretty much be applied to circular breathing, except slap tongue, which is, it's just a different ballpark. But try growling and circular breathing. May not be your choice of technique, but it works. Depends on who you are. Try subtoning and circular breathing. That's a really, really good technique. I saw Don Menza use that technique in a Cannonball video. So look up Cannonball Don Menza in your search bar, and you can find that video where he circular breathes and subtones. Oh man, it's a wonderful technique. I know Coltrane used a lot of subtoning in his work. It really sounds like his saxophone is being hugged while he's playing it, but it's not really like it's covering the sound, but the sound just is inside the horn. I know I had a couple of questions, and people asked me, why do I puff my cheeks out only when I play the lower register of my horn? And it's not that I need to, because you can fully thrust a whole bunch of air into lower register and get this loud blaring sound. But what I want to do is try to accompany a softer, a lower register, and that involves a lot of air support, and not so much a lot of air support, but a lot of air in general. You know, whether it be fast air, whether it be slow air. Most of the time it's slow air because lower notes need slower vibrations. So I circular breathe, and that's like, it's wonderful, especially if you have a saxophone that'll put it out there. I know I did a whole bunch of Cannonball reviews on tenor saxophones, the lower register, and subtoning the lower register while you're circular breathing. It's just amazing. If you try to do that, it's just so cool if you can actually pull it off. You know, it's not easy to pull it off at all, especially if you're not warmed up. When I know when I do my reviews on saxophones, I never really warm up that much because I don't have a lot of time when I'm in the music store. But it just depends on what my day is looking like. But if you just sit down and work on sound, incorporate the balloon, circular breathing, and many other techniques that I've shown on my website, not website, but web page on YouTube, then you'll have fun, and it's not that hard. It's really, really fun. You can make this really, really fun for yourself, even if you mess up, because some of those techniques I stumbled upon when I was getting tired and I was fatigued and I was messing up more than usual. So this is Devin, and I hope this balloon trick helps, and I hope you do well your sight reading and circular breathing. So yeah, comment in the boxes below. If you have any questions, anything I might be able to help you out with, and thanks for watching.